All right, we're back for another video. We're going to talk about whipped cream, correct ways and incorrect ways, and basically play around a little bit with some heavy whipping cream. So what we're going to do, the quote-unquote proper way to do whipped cream is you start with chilled equipment. So I've got a couple of cups of heavy whipping cream that's straight out of the refrigerator. Excuse me. The reason I almost said freezer was my work bowl, my whip, and what I was going to measure the cream into, but I'm not going to because I know there's 2 cups here. Everything was in the freezer. The difference between whipped cream foams and egg white foams, they're pretty much opposite. Whipped cream we want as cold as possible. Egg foams, on the other hand, are actually better to do room temperature. Room temperature equipment, room temperature egg whites. Again, ice cold here. So here, we'll just move this out of the way. And we're just going to make some whipped cream. I mean, this is not fancy. You don't have to go buy that stuff in the container, with the lid that you get out of the freezer. You can, buy some whipping cream. Just putting 2 cups in my work bowl. And I'm going to put this on the mixer. No worries there. Hopefully I'll do this without, wearing it. There we go. Our whip. The reason we're using a whip, of course, is we're trying to get air into it. So we're on there. Bring it up. We're going to start this on medium speed till it starts to visually thicken a little bit, and then we're going to kick up to high speed, and you whip it to the desired stiffness. We're going to probably go to about a medium peak on this. All right, we've pulled off our whipped cream off the mixer, and I actually went to pretty much a stiff peak here. You can see here the little bit. It's, I pull it out. It doesn't move. It doesn't flop. That's how we know the difference between soft peak, medium peak, and stiff peak. Or firm peak. It's not moving. So what's interesting is, as we were talking about here in the kitchen while it was on the mixer, is, whipped cream is literally whipping cream in a bowl and get some air into it. What it is the fat molecules in the cream start to make this matrix that actually traps air. That's what gives it the volume in the body. That's why you can't, unfortunately, while it would be healthier, cheaper or something, to use milk, you can't. There's not enough butter fat in milk to get that network of fat molecules to make the matrix to trap air. So in our continuing tutorial on whipping cream, what we're going to do next is, now that this is to a firm peak, a stiff peak, we're going to show that you do have to stop. You can't just put this on the mixer and let it go and let it go and let it go and come back 10 minutes later. We're actually going to see if we can make this break down and form a little butter. So I'm just going to put this right back on the mixer, turn it back to high, and we're going to give it another few minutes. All right, we're back. We let this nice stiff peak whipped cream go for another 3-4 minutes, and what we're going to take a look here on the mixer is that we have something that's not light and fluffy anymore. We actually have something that looks very much like the starting of butter. We've actually broken down and we squeezed some of the liquid out of this, out of the matrix, so we're left with something pretty stiff here. It's broken whipped cream. the starting of butter. And it's actually, you know, I can convince myself that it's starting to take on a little bit of a yellow tinge because it's got so much fat on the surface that's, you know, the fat is, as you know, butter is kind of a yellow and milk is kind of white. It's a difference in the fat content. So, not something that would be nice and fluffy and light to have on a dessert, and this is why we have to watch our whipped cream, because it can go from a soft peak to a medium peak to a stiff peak or firm peak very quickly, and then, you know, it doesn't take much to go further onto, you know, the forming the starting of butter. So we're going to clean up, and we're going to do one other demo here. We're going to show the difference, and we're especially going to look at the time. The proper way was with the chilled equipment, you know, ice cold, right out of the freezer, work bowl, whip, very, very cold whipped cream, or the liquid cream. I've got cream that's been sitting on the counter for a couple hours, so it's definitely room temperature. We've got a room temperature work bowl, room temperature whip, and we're gonna do the exact same thing. We're gonna use 2 cups of cream, put it in the work bowl, put it on the mixer, and by looking at the time, we can see, you know, number one, can we even get it to come to a soft peak, medium peak, firm peak, and the timing. Does it take longer and longer and longer, if it'll even form at all? We'll check in just a minute. All right, we pulled our warm whipped cream, our room temperature cream out, and in less time than it actually took us to do it the right way with the cold equipment, gave us a lot of control. Very slowly, it went from just totally liquid to soft peak, medium peak, firm peak, in less time than it took to do all of that and then break it afterwards. Before we actually could stop it, our warm cream, our room temperature cream, actually broke on us. This is not quite as far towards butter as our last batch was, but you can see this is now, it's broke. It's not light and fluffy and glossy looking. You know, it's kind of wet looking. It's, you know, I can't pull this out and get a peak that stays. It's all clumpy, it's falling apart. So, you know, what we've learned here is the reason we use the chilled equipment, it definitely gives us a lot more control. Yes, it took longer to get to a firm peak, but the difference between firm peak and broken was very, very quickly, very, very quick on the warm equipment. So, you know, there's a reason why we do things the quote right way, and a reason why we don't do things quote the wrong way. So, something a little bit interesting. Again, you saw how easy it was to do whipped cream the right way. There's no reason to go buy that stuff in the tub that's in the freezer that has all kinds of chemicals in it. Literally what we had here was cream. You know, you could add a little sugar if you want it sweet, add a little amaretto, a little flavoring, a little cocoa powder if you want to have like a chocolate whipped cream. You know, very flexible. Not really a whole lot of reason, in my opinion, to buy the stuff in the freezer section. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned a little bit. We'll see you next time.